guys, welcome back to the 22nd Annual Home Buyer Fair. For the next 30 minutes, we'll be discussing credit. The first 15 minutes will be in English, y los últimos 15 minutos será en español. Stay tuned until the end of the segment to get your keyword to win a gift card. My name is Jamie Vela, and I'm a HUD Certified Home Buyer Advisor with Affordable Homes of South Texas. Today with me, we have Gloria Escamilla, the Director of Home Buyer Development, to talk to us about credit. Hi, Gloria. How are you today?
Hi, Jamie. Doing good.
Great. So I'm thinking I want to get ready to purchase a house. I know credit plays a huge factor in that. What would you recommend I do first? Should I take a look at my credit before approaching a lender?
Yes, you need to really look at your credit before you even apply. There's different ways you can research and see what your credit scores are, but definitely, yes, you need to look at your credit.
Okay, and what would be some ways that I should look at my credit?
So you can go to Credit Karma. There you can get two of the credit bureaus, TransUnion and Equifax. It'll give you a score. It's not the FICO score that the lenders use, but it'll give you an idea, and it definitely will give you any issues that you might have on your credit.
Okay, so I can check out Credit Karma. Does that affect my credit score?
So looking into the Credit Karma does not affect your scores. Why? Because it's a soft inquiry. It's nothing like a hard inquiry, but no, it doesn't affect it.
Okay, so Credit Karma, is there anywhere else that I can take a look at my credit?
So you can also go through the annual credit report request, which is annualcreditreport.com, and request it this way. Now, this credit report does not include credit scores, but you can get those free credit scores from the Credit Karma.
Okay, so once I pull my credit, what would you suggest that I look at that a lender is going to pay attention to? What matters to them?
A lender is going to look at your credit scores.
Great. And what credit score would be ideal for a lender?
It depends on the different programs. Sometimes I know normally it was a 580 for an FHA loan. That course, that's going to give you a higher interest rate. But then again, normally you would need a 620, 640. The higher the credit scores, the better interest rate you're going to get, better down payment. So that's what they're looking at.
Oh man, I just pulled my score on Credit Karma and I had a 560. What should I do? Does that mean I'm never going to buy a house?
Janie, no. If your goal is home ownership, then remember Affordable Homes, we do free credit counseling. So we have different, I think 3 counselors that can help you work on your credit scores. We do not charge for this counseling. So no, you can work on your credit scores.
Okay, and what are these counselors going to help me with? Are they going to help me pay collections? Are they going to advise me on what's best to do?
So the counselors will give you an action plan. They're going to review your credit. They're going to review your budget. Of course, working on your credit means that you're going to have to, if you have some collections, you have to pay them off. That's the only way you're going to have to do it is settling on the accounts. And it's going to take some time to bring up your scores.
Yeah, I think when I was out of high school, I opened up a ton of debt. Does that stay with you forever? Is that something that's going to go away after a while?
So any problems with your credit, any collection accounts, any charge-off accounts, the history is 7 years. So it's going to report on your credit report for 7 years from date of last activity. So if it was when you were in high school or after high school or in college, then maybe they're going to drop off pretty soon.
Oh, that's awesome. So let's say, for example, all my credit has been clear. I have no collections, no charge-offs, but I also don't have any open accounts because every time I go to the mall, no one wants to let me borrow a credit card or let me open a credit card. What would you suggest is the best way to get started with a credit history?
So if all your bad debt has dropped, then you need to open a secured credit card. Have you heard of a secured credit card?
I haven't, Gloria. What is that?
So a secured credit card, you go to your bank or a bank that can give you a secured credit card, meaning you're going to deposit $300 or $500, depending on what the bank requires. Some of them require $300, which that means your money. You're going to deposit $300. Then you're going to charge maybe gasoline, $50, $90 a month, charge and pay. So this is going to establish your credit.
Okay, so I should never really keep a rollover balance. I once had a tia tell me, hey, you know what you should do? Get a credit card, max it out, and make your minimum payments a month. Is that what that you wouldn't suggest that?
No, because again, if you're trying to reestablish your credit and have a good credit score for your mortgage, then FICO looks at if you're maxing out your cards, then you're gonna affect your scores. So FICO is looking that you charge 30% of your credit limit or less.
Okay.
And then the other thing is, I mean, if you wanna pay interest, then you can charge and pay the minimum, but you're paying interest. So normally, using your credit cards is charge what you can pay at the end of the month, and that's how you're gonna establish your credit.
Okay, cool. And we have a question from our Facebook. What's the difference between a soft pull and a hard pull on your credit report?
So we talked about Credit Karma. When you check your consumer credit report, this is on the consumer side. You can check through the annual website or the Credit Karma, and there's different websites I think the credit bureaus have. That's a soft inquiry. So a hard inquiry is when you apply for a mortgage loan, a car loan, a finance, a credit card. So that's the difference between a soft and a hard inquiry.
Okay, so soft inquiries won't affect my credit score, but a hard pull will.
Right, especially if you're going for a mortgage, if you're applying for a mortgage loan and they pre-qualify you with a certain score, they already give you an interest rate. And if you start applying, then your scores will drop. It could drop from, 4 to 8 points. On the mortgage side, if you drop 1 point under whatever they gave you, then that you're gonna have
It can affect
a
you.
problem, yes.
I read somewhere that when you're shopping for a mortgage loan, you have a 30-day window to shop around with different borrowers. So the credit pools, the multiple credit pools won't affect you. Is that accurate?
So there's different kind of FICO scores. It depends on what the lender is using. And it'll give you a window of 14 to 45 days that you can shop around. And it's counted as one inquiry. I know the mortgage company has it and the auto industry has that. But yeah, it depends on what the lender, what score they're using.
Okay. So you mentioned a secured credit card earlier. That's the best way to improve your credit score. How many secured credit cards should I open? Does it matter if I open 5 or should I just keep the 1?
So FICO doesn't look at how many credit cards you have, or actually they do in a way that you can have several credit cards. It's the way you're using them. So like I mentioned earlier, if you're charging more than the 30%, then you're not helping yourself. So you could have maybe, 3, 5 credit cards. And if you charge under the 30%, then that's what FICO is looking at. You have high limits, but you're not charging them to the max.
So would you say it's a good idea to only charge what I know that I can pay off at the end of the month?
That is really what is recommended, because credit cards are so easy to use. A lot of us haven't used credit cards, and you don't know how to use them. You can go and charge, and then you get your statement and you've charged the max and you can't pay it off. So then you're going to be sending the minimum. So that's why credit cards are needed for the FICO score to have a good FICO score. But if you're not disciplined to or know how to use them, it's kind of charge what you can pay at the end of the month.
Okay, thank you for that. So a big question that comes up often is I have student loans. Is that going to affect me when I'm trying to get a mortgage?
Are they current or they're defaulted or past due? What?
All of the above.
Then yes.
How will a student loan in collections affect me?
What?
A student loan in collections, how will that affect me?
It'll just affect you as any other account. It's in collections. The only thing is when a regular collection, say a credit card or a phone bill, that'll drop after 7 years if they don't take you to court. But a student loan, anything with the government, if you don't pay it, it's going to be there forever. So it's not going to drop in 7 years.
Oh, man. I was hoping to get rid of those student loans.
Sorry, Janie.
Okay, so let's say I'm not late. Let's say I am on deferment because I'm still in school, but I want to buy a house before I graduate. How will a lender take that payment into consideration, or will they even take it into consideration?
Normally, the lender will, you eventually have to give a payment. So yeah, you can keep deferring it, but sooner or later you will have to pay, so they have to count that monthly payment estimated.
Okay, and so earlier I mentioned all those collections that I had. I got a settlement in the mail. Is that something that's a good idea to fix this collection account?
So yes, that's the best way on taking care of, if you want the mortgage loan and you want to bring up your scores, then you need to start paying off the accounts, like I said earlier. So if you get any settlement letters and you like the offer, a lot of times, we see a good offer would be 50% or less on the settlement. So if you have a letter that is valid, hasn't expired, then yeah, that's the way to go.
If it expired, did I lose my chance at getting to settle for that amount?
No, if the letter has expired, then what you have to do is call the collection agency, request a new settlement letter, hopefully with the same offer or maybe better. You can also ask for a lower settlement. Once you have the new letter, then you can pay it off.
Okay, awesome. So what should I do? My tia once told me that opening a bunch of finance loans is the best way to start establishing my credit. I know you mentioned secured credit cards earlier, but is finance loans a valid option as well?
Finance companies are lenient. They're good. I mean, yeah, you can open finance companies. The thing is that the finance companies are installment loans. So what you have to do is keep renewing them. And what does that mean if you have a loan company? You're paying interest versus a credit card. We talked about credit cards earlier. If you charge on a credit card and you pay monthly, then you're not paying $1 of interest versus a finance company, then you have to be renewing it and you're paying interest. So depends on which way you want to go, but I mean,
It's up to the
interest,
user.
right?
Yeah, okay. So I want to buy a house, but I also think I might want to buy a car. Which of those should I do first? And will buying a car affect me if I choose to buy that first?
Well, Jeannie, if you want the house, that is your goal, then it would be first getting your home.
Okay.
Go into looking and see how much you can afford. But then again, remember you're gonna have a home mortgage payment, and will you be able to afford the car payment as well? So kind of balance it out.
Okay, so you keep saying, can I afford the payment? So what I understand is that the more debt I have, the less I could afford for a house. Is that accurate?
Correct.
So a high car payment isn't, the higher the payment, the less I can afford for a house.
Correct.
Okay, so what if my uncle needed help purchasing a car? His credit score wasn't that great and mine's awesome. I co-signed for him. Is that something that's gonna affect me in the future?
That will affect you in the future because again, you're co-signing, so it is your debt. It is your payment. So
I'm responsible.
right, what if he doesn't pay on time? Then it's gonna affect your credit as well.
Okay, cool. So is there any more questions on Facebook? No? So we will be right back in Spanish. Thank you for joining us today. And thank you, Gloria, for so much good information. The key word for this segment is going to be FICO. That's FICO. You can send an email to info@thehomebuyersfair.org with that chance to win a gift card. One last time, that word is FICO, FICO. Y ahorita regresamos en español.